Carbon capture and storage can remove more than 90% of CO2 emissions from industry and power generation. This technology is one of the ways ExxonMobil is advancing climate solutions. Learn more at exxonmobil.com.
Membership fees apply after free trial. Cancel anytime.
Can I be real for a second? That goal you have to exercise and eat better, you really can do it, but nobody is going to do it for you. And nobody has to, because you can do it if you have the right tools and a community that cares about helping you get results. And that's us, Beachbody. It's as convenient as your TV or laptop, but you need to decide that you're worth it. Let us help you succeed. Here's how. Go to beachbody.com to claim your free membership and start feeling great.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas, and you are listening to my podcast, Literally Analysis. Today we continue with our analysis of Macbeth. We're still there. It is quite interesting. So the last time we have already discovered some main themes. Today we will continue thereafter. Thereafter, we will delve into the structures of plots. This is for an author very important, so we will a little bit talk about Macbeth, the first act and the second act, so which scene follows each scene. So this pretty much depends, as well as with the themes. We will try to analyze this, and then in the future I have prepared some screenplays where we will some sort of try to analyze how this scene changes works. This is not very, or this is indeed interesting. If you're an author, I cannot emphasize this enough, because if you write novels, screenplays, whatever, a lot and a hell lot really depends how to structure it. I mean, you can have a good idea or even a brilliant idea, but it some sort of loses itself when you cannot really structure it. But however, we will before that we will continue with some other themes which maybe not that strong in Macbeth, but however, which some sort of are a consistency or some sort of occur consistently throughout Shakespeare's work. We will name some of this. Okay, the first one is, we have already talked about this is family about children, babies. We said it is sacrifice, but whatever it is, I mean, this family thing plays a crucial part in other Shakespeare's as well. Think about King Lear, family dynamics. I mean, we have in Macbeth King Duncan, who is some sort of a father. He's even named by Lady Macbeth as a father. We have as well as Macduff, who abandons his family. What this is all about. I mean, this is as well as love. This is another theme, love and honor. So family plays a crucial part, especially when Macduff some sort of is not willing to fight for Macbeth, rather flees. It appears as if it would be honorable. Yeah, he some sort of has duty for, or some sort of feels a duty towards his country, yet he abandons his family. So what weighs more, family or your country? And this is some sort of in Macbeth as well, and as well as we have Malcolm and Dumbledore, who abandoned their father, who some sort of do not feel, either out of cowardice or lack of love, do not really willing or are not really care enough to some sort of avenge their fathers. I mean, we again said that Malcolm, or King Duncan's son, pretty much fled thereafter. The murder was committed by Macbeth, which sort of incurred suspicion on them. This was a big issue, while why Malcolm was not named successor but Macbeth, because their cowardice got the better of it. So you have some sort of things like love or lack of love or lack of love for family. Family is, you would say, part of your honor. This is what you hear when Macbeth faces King Duncan, so that his duty and his honor, or his duty, is towards his country and his king. This is, you would rather say, his duties towards his family or his father. This father figure, what is in King Duncan. Again, this would leave a lot of space for interpretation, because family is a really broad understanding. We would have to analyze King Lear for that matter. However, but it plays a crucial part, especially when it comes with love and honor. So where do you lie? Where lie your honors? I mean, Macduff, who abandoned his family but didn't want to fight for a tyrant. So where lies his honor? I mean, I interpret it as a cowardice, where Shakespeare indeed puts emphasis that your love belongs to your family, so you should always be with your family. This is what you as well as see in the scene where Lady Macduff calls her husband a traitor, and some sort of names him dead, whereas his son, if you want, his son, Macduff's son, is very brave, because he some sort of defends the honor of his father, but dies while defending it. So the love, honor, and family play a crucial part, and as well as it is part of your masculinity. Then the next thing is the next theme, which I think then will lead us to the most important part, or one of the key important parts, and this is the dagger. I announced it before. We will talk a little bit about the psychoanalytical interpretations of this. It some sort of suits itself. It is vivid. But what the next theme, which we talked about as well, is the inevitability. So even though Macbeth throughout the play some sort of ruminates whether he should go forth with it, and later he even repents, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, this was actually not a good idea, because now you have a lot of issues to think about. You are paranoid, you are haunted, and so on and so forth. So, but inevitability, this is as well as we see throughout the play, where you have already some sort of this vicious circle. In the beginning, the play starts actually with a storm. So with a storm, there's a gathering storm, but and then there's treason, there's murder, there's war, and this treason, murder, as well as wrong kings who succeed to the throne of Scotland. This some sort of continues, and this then leads to this vicious circle, but as well as some sort of inevitability. You cannot escape it. This already starts with the three witches, the three sisters who have a pilot's thumb as a trophy. The pilot who wanted to return, save himself, whatever it is, but he couldn't, and so on. So this plays a crucial part, as well as with the part of war. I mean, you have war almost in many Shakespeare place. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, you have this war between the two families. You have war in King Lear, and so on and so forth. So war plays a crucial part as well. But with and it is again in Macbeth the back layer. But what we want to continue now is the dagger. The dagger, which I said is again some sort of a symbol of inevitability. So this happens in the you some sort of, if you go through the play, you have some sort of a back and forth. We will talk about this later, but you have some sort of slowly and gradually approaching to one point that to the point that there is no return anymore. And this is what we said here, the dagger some sort of stands for it. I mean, Macbeth, in the beginning, when this dark prophecy some sort of was transmitted to him, he shrieks. He's scared of his own ambition, scared of his own dark thoughts. This is being noticed by his friend Banquo, and then later on he again some sort of ruminates whether he should go forth with it. He fears the consequences. These things, they happen. I mean, especially what happened after what happened to his predecessor. This is a warning to him. He wants to some sort of mitigate the impact of the consequences, and with this ruminating and so on, then the dagger some sort of is the end of it. It pretty much the end of this ruminating, the end of this procrastination. You have to go forth it. I mean, you have to go for it. There is no way back anymore. So this is one interpretation. You could put the dagger on because Macbeth, he himself says that the dagger leads his way already. The dagger, some sort of, he cannot go back anymore, and this would pretty much hit the theme of the play, what you hear before with the pilot's fun, with this vicious circle of treason and weak, cowardly kings and so on. However, as well as it would, but as well there is of course a psychoanalytic analysis as well. This is pretty much made famous by or is famous in the psychoanalysis. This is where the dagger is considered a phallus symbol. This means, or to say it very simply, this is that the emphasis is that the Macbeth is an Oedipal construct. So if you know King Oedipus, he some sort of, without knowing, killed his father and married his mother. And from this, the psychoanalysis derived this Oedipus complex, which means that a young child, a young boy, tries to be near his mother, tries to be some sort of swoon her, tries to charm her, and in that sense he competes with his father for the attention of his mother. This is not something we would assume as deranged or whatever. No, it is in the psychoanalysis this conflict between son and father. This is important because the son more and more understands, or should understand, that he cannot compete with his father for his motherly affection or for his motherly love. That's why he some sort of copies his father, his behavior, in order to emulates him in order to be like him and then be close to his mother. Whereas his mother, he doesn't want to commit incest, and so no, it is rather his mother becomes a symbol of femininity of womanhood. There is a lot of psychological research actually which states that a lot of boys as well as girls, however you see it, especially in their formative years orient themselves on persons who are around them, who raise them. This does not mean that these persons of affection or emotional closeness have to be their biological parents, but in general, people who are around them, adults, have a huge influence on young children concerning how to behave, how to think, and so on and so forth. And with this Oedipus complex, the psychoanalysis tried to explain some of the conflicts we have in our adult life. So this is, despite the fact that this is normal, this conflict between son and father, as well as between daughter and mother, this is vital for the development of a child. However, a positive development or a healthy development is when the child some sort of takes over the behavior of his father and then becomes a grown-up and leaves this conflict behind, whereas a lot of people or some people can never overcome this conflict. They can never leave it behind them. So this is the psychoanalysis. You can like it or not like it, it doesn't matter, but it is still within literally analysis. Psychoanalysis plays a crucial role. So these conflicts between father and son, as well as mother and daughter, and in Shakespeare's Macbeth, one could say, despite you can some sort of interpret Macbeth in that sense. And first you would then say that Macbeth some sort of gets envious of King Duncan, his position, his social standing. So, and because with being a king comes of a lot of benefits, but as well as a lot of desirability. Think about many people who assume that when they are wealthy, when they are kings, then they will be desirable to women. This is what you have in Macbeth as well in Act 4, where Duncan in a way confesses the deep desires of his heart, despite the fact that he's a virgin. However, he some sort of has his desire, lust, to crave. He craves female flesh. He wants a lot of attention, sexual attention, and this comes with being king. He's assured by Macbeth, no matter how big his voluptuousness is, Scotland has enough women. So you could then see or assume that being king, you get a lot of attention with women. So, or in an Oedipal conflict, you surpass your father, you overcome him, you get attention of the opposite sex, where you can prove that you are more man than your father, where you can prove that you are a man or whatever it is, because masculinity is a key theme in Macbeth as well. So it is not too far-fetched that you would assume being king some sort of makes you to this big man, to this real masculine man, because it some sort of goes beyond your physical appearance, but it is a symbolic power, being the king, being the head of it all, being the head of the table, and so on. So you have some sort of a desire, or why Macbeth would desire to get rid of King Duncan because the king has some sort of a symbolic power, and as well as it emulates partially his father. So Lady Macbeth would have killed King Duncan herself if he hadn't resembled her father. So she even says that. And you have as well as a lot of references to in the play that King Duncan is some sort of considered as a father figure to all, and that he is appreciated as that, or seen as that. And this is again, and the conflict, you could then say, some sort of starts because King Duncan is a weak king as well. He's beloved. This is a way you could say, or where you have to be, of course, careful. But in a civilizatory approach, you would say King Duncan, he stays back, he is the king, or he does not really or is not really engaged in blood, because in the second scene of the first act you hear him calling out, "Who is this bloody man there?" I mean, there are people who are bloody, his soldiers, people who fight for him. He's not the father or the king, he's not soaked in blood. You could see this, we said, as weakness, and it is being seen as weakness in the play, but as well as some sort of a civilizatoric development, because you would not assume that the king later on would get his hands bloody, or some sort of would soak his hands in blood, as it happens with Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, who after murdering their king, you could assume, a king should stand beyond this. You have again in the fourth act reference to King Edward of England, who actually does not wage war but heals people. So there is a different understanding of king, and some sort of, you could then assume, King Duncan is from a different world. In that sense that he may be a too good king, or he's a too perennial child who is born into a world of war, and this world of war will in the end devour him, and it then indeed devours him. So this is again so a difference. His weakness could or is the driving force in the play, why people usurp against him and will usurp against his descendants as well, because Malcolm, his son, is weak as well. So, however, this fatherly weakness of King Duncan, this is then taken advantage of, because in a competition between son and father, you want to do everything you can to overcome your father in an Oedipus conflict. You want to some sort of find a niche where you're stronger than your father, and King Duncan, who is weak, especially weak in that sense on the battlefield. He's not with his man. This is the sphere. This is the niche where Macbeth can overcome his father, some sort of get rid of him, and this needs a violent act. So this then would prove with the dagger as well. The dagger then would stand with a phallus symbol, that he some sort of gets rid of King Duncan, his father, or his perennial father, who stands in his way to become greatness, to be considered as a man, and thereby the dagger, this phallus symbol, some sort of leads his way. I mean, this is not far-fetched in that sense. You would say that Macbeth has actually no children. This is very important to note. Whereas King Duncan has children, this means Malcolm, no matter whether he's weak or not, inherits his father's crown, whereas Macbeth has no children, and he even says, on my head they put on a fruitless crown. So he has no children. This makes him envious, as well as this questions his manhood. Is he a man? This hits the spot of this hits the theme of the play, manliness. Is he a man? And man, father, children, have a lot of children, but his wife decides against it. This is a sacrifice. We said of their ambition. So Macbeth has no children. This makes him envious. This some sort of questions his manhood, his manliness, and therefore King Duncan, in that sense, who can father children despite being weak, is being considered more manly, more masculine, which then again some sort of could be a driving ambition to get rid of him beyond greed, because the theme, I would say, the theme of the play is pretty much clear, with greed as the main driving force for Macbeth to go after the kingship. You have this as well as with drunkenness, these references to drunkenness and why it is so important. So I would say it is the theme of the play is indeed greed and over ambition without the regard of the consequences. You would have to say that Macbeth is indeed aware of the consequences, but however some sort of too much drunkenness, too much eagerness or too much ambition, some sort of disregards these consequences. Even the warning of his predecessor who was slain. So there you have these references to drunkenness, which I think is key to understand that the key theme of or the driving force why Macbeth does it is indeed ambition explained or epitomized in drunkenness, which disregards the consequences, despite the fact that Macbeth knows about them. He is well aware of them. He tries to mitigate them, but he decides against it, and this comes, of course, with a sacrifice of his wife, who cannot bear children because she had to do something. So every social if you some sort of climb the social ladder, this would come with sacrifices. This is what we get told, or with treason, that you can succeed in treason, you have to sacrifice something for it, or to the evil spirits. They do not give you anything for free. This is what we see in the prophecy when Macbeth is hailed king, or he could be in the future. This is not a good these are not good tidings. They are not received very well. Quite the contrary, these tidings, they are being feared. This news is not something good, or you would celebrate, despite the fact that Macbeth some sort of won a war. He won this war against the king of Norway, as well as against the treacherous Thane of Cawdor, his predecessor. No, one might assume, this is a time of celebration celebration. Now he's already successful. He has accomplished a lot, and then he's even be hailed king. So one might assume that these messages would be received as a big chance for celebration, but yet they are not. They dampen his mood is dampened. He fears. He thinks about murder and so on. So it never crossed his mind. And there you see the start of the over ambition, this driving force for him. So this is what I assume is the main driving force of the play. However, psychoanalytic, I wanted to mention the psychoanalytic as well, or especially the driving force. I mean, why do people do certain things? This is indeed a key, and especially if you write novels or whatever you write, your villain as well as your protagonist needs a reason to do things. He needs a motive, and for that matter, psychoanalysis plays indeed an important role, because it gives this motive. You would have a motive. So if greed greed after power, after wealth and so on would not be there, you could still say Macbeth would have some sort of motivation to get rid of King Duncan, because he is more manly, because he has children. This is the point where people get envious, believe me. So those, for example, men who do not have children or who cannot father children, they have a lot of hatred, envy against men who can. So this is not far-fetched. This is actually, you will find in the real world as well. So envy, hatred against man. You do not feel yourself as man, become as man who can father strong sons and so on. And this is again a key issue. You have key or it is implied in the play as well, with Banquo, whose descendants then will claim the throne and so on. So fathering sons, and sons you have again are more valuable than girls. This is something you pretty much perceive in the play. In King Lear, things are different, but however, in that sense, from a psychoanalytic view, you would indeed see that Macbeth, without the reason, would have a motive to fight or to commit treason. So and writing or the big key ingredients of writing. You will see this in every crime novel, in every where the sleuth some sort of hunts the villain. The villain has always a good motive. This is key. Not a simple motive like, I just don't like him. No, this is not enough. And the psychoanalysis, despite all its, I would say, it's a questionable approaches. This is what we have to say as well. So psychoanalysis, this is rather, you have to take this with a big grain of salt, because it is not really science, rather philosophy. However, but yet it can indeed deliver a motive. It could be a good motive, some sort of, there's manliness. You have to prove your manliness. The play is full of it. You have to prove that you are that you're strong, that you some sort of can stand in a war and so on. And your dark desires is revolves around the fact that you are more man, and this does apparently do not leave you and keeps you restless and so on and so forth. So it is key for human understanding, so it is not far-fetched. It is indeed something you would find in reality as well. And another theme is of course haunting. So you have this with the ghost of Banquo, which haunts him. Banquo is different. This is very important because Banquo is as well as about friendship. Banquo was Macbeth's friend. He was his companion. Macbeth feared him because Banquo was very smart. He compares himself to Mark Anthony. Macbeth compares himself to Mark Anthony, whereas Banquo is considered to be Caesar, so he's a genius. Macbeth fears him, and killing Banquo is, as it appears in the play, far worse than getting rid of Duncan, because Banquo is his close friend. He is with him when this prophecy is broken to him. He is with him in war, so they fought next to each other. They are close, and this killing of Banquo, this is you would say then the last straw. This is where he gets too far because he's consumed by madness. He's consumed by paranoia, and this because of this because he crossed here the line. This is why he is haunted by Banquo. I mean, haunting is a big issue. We will talk about it when we talk about Edgar Allan Poe, where you have haunting, which some sort of past crime you have committed or something you try to forget, some sort of reappears in a different shape and haunts you. So you try to forget it. You try to continue your life as before. You have this with Macbeth in the feast. So he tries to give a feast, but he is haunted with the ghost of Banquo, who sits in his place. So the table is full. You have this notion as well. So the table is full. So he did the worst thing in that sense. He got rid of a friend, of a close confidant. This was the last straw. So, and this is, you could then say why he exclaims, so when he sees the ghost of Banquo, that the table is full. So, as well as this is a lot of envy. So Macbeth is again ridden and driven by his manliness, because he saw Banquo was given the prophecy that his children will succeed, becoming kings. He will father a lot of king or sons who will become kings, whereas Banquo himself will not be a king. However, I mean, he's more man than, or it is considered, or you could consider it, he is more man than Macbeth, because he can father children. So Macbeth is envious about of him. He again says, yeah, on my head is a fruitless crown. This is again, you have the same with King Duncan. He feels himself inferior to Banquo, as well as he felt in a psychoanalytic setting. You could say, yeah, this is about manliness, and he feels himself inferior, whatever you want, or paranoid, and because this comes with tyranny as well, which Macbeth himself expressed when he ruminated about the consequences, where he said, if you some sort of create a president, if you some sort of kill King Duncan, you will one day become a victim of treason as well. So these warnings of his predecessor, which tried to, or which is supposed to stop him from continuing, now come to haunt him. He sees a ghost where there is none. He sees this treason, and with Banquo, with his last close confidant gone, he gets even more mad, because then he sees in everyone a traitor, which you then pretty much perceive throughout the play. This is why many noblemen then abandon Macbeth's court, because he becomes more and more paranoid. He fears those consequences. He fears that he could become another victim. This is why he then later goes to those three witches to get himself assurance, so that he's in a way protected from these consequences. So this play a crucial role. Haunting, we will talk about it in later on. And of course, another key theme is evil. I mean, this is what you have with the three witches. I mean, the three witches, some haunt people, they some sort of punish people, as well as you have in one hand, you could say that evil is actually just there to harm living beings. I mean, this is what you have with Banquo when Banquo some sort of hears the prophecy. He says to himself, but this is strange. It is about the three witches who bring Macbeth tidings about him becoming a king. And Banquo says, but this is strange and often times to win us to our harm. These instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles, to betray us in deepest consequences. So you have this as well. So evil, why does evil some sort of bring you good tidings? You would assume, of course, that becoming a king you would see as something positive, as something good. But again, this is the celebrations are thwarted, or in a way dampened, because through Macbeth's mind immediately some sort of runs the notion that you will probably have to commit murder. So evil in that sense is haunting people, but as well as it comes with a punishment. So it is not that those three witches just destroy people's lives, but that there is a good reason for it, or some of the reason. You would say this stingy woman, this stingy fat woman who wasn't willing to share this chestnut. So there is a reason for it, why evil some sort of haunts the living. So because you again could say, Macbeth couldn't have or shouldn't have went for it. He shouldn't have some sort of got rid of it. So the position of evil is some sort of, you would say, it is not very clear in that sense. Is it really pure evil which just only harms the living, or is evil some sort of a punishment which haunts you, which follows you, which you get punished for something you did, and so on. So this some sort of comes with evil, or with the notion of evil. We will talk about evil later on as well, because it is indeed very important. But the notion of evil here is not, one would assume, write out pure evil or write out villainous. It is rather, you would say, that evil is part of this theme of haunting, where you are being haunted for a past crime or a past thing you did. So we will continue the next time about scenes. This is, I think, will be very important. So I hope that you will join me again. This was Adam Kirbas, and I hope that you take care of yourselves. Bye.
When so much of life is about the big moments, it's the details in the all-new 2022 Grand Wagoneer that make the small moments truly special. Take joy in American premium design and available technology, like the 23-speaker Macintosh reference entertainment system. And with seating for up to 8, no detail is overlooked, because it's the details that make every journey grand. The Grand Wagoneer. Grand adventures return. Wagoneer is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.